Hi everyone, Chris Jackson here with more thoughts and ideas at the pithy, pointy end of psychology. Today I want to talk about the relationship between the ancient Roman virtue of gravitas and the modern leadership style of transformational leadership. And I want to identify just what does this mean for women. You've probably not thought about why they're connected. And why should you? You can get through life without thinking about gravitas and transformational leadership. But it's actually quite interesting because we in the 21st century are still thinking about what leadership is in terms of ancient Roman ideals, then we might be in a bit of a modern leadership pickle. Why? It's because the Roman virtue of gravitas was all about warfare, empire building, glory seeking, and masculinity. Whoa. Have we just discovered a new reason for why leadership is flawed and another reason for why women face the glass ceiling in modern society? Listen to my arguments and you can agree or disagree in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear more pithy, pointy perspectives. You could like the video and make comments as well. Well, where should I begin? I could of course take you back 2,000 years, and that's where we'll have to go eventually. But to begin properly, we need to go back to 1979. Scene 10, Life of Brian, Monty Python. Now, this is probably one of the funniest movies of all time. I can't recommend it enough. I've seen it just recently and I still find it just hilarious. Anyway, to the point. This is when Reg, aka John Cleese, lists all the wonderful things that the Romans provided occupied people. He asks, and now I ask, the monumental question. All right, but apart from the sanitation, the medicine, education, wine, public order, irrigation, roads, fresh water system, and public health, what have the Romans ever done for us? You see, Reg is right. It's pretty clear the Romans have been influential as the forebears of Western society, and they actually did all sorts of positive things when they raped and pillaged their way across the Mediterranean world. But today I'll provide a new and psychological spin in answer to Reg's question. In this first video of the subject, I'll be arguing that one of the things the Romans have done for us is to corrupt our modern ideas of leadership, and that this is a big deal which leads to discrimination and unwelcome leadership styles throughout the West. And in another video, I'll argue that another thing the Romans have done for us is to provide us with some interesting insights into modern personality. But as I say, that'll be later. So what is this ancient Roman virtue of gravitas? Well, it's the quality of heroes. People with gravitas are inspiring, ennobling, self-controlled and earnest. They're charismatic leaders and people look up to them. For the Romans, it's associated with being militaristic, male and empire building, glory, fame, fortune, military and civic deeds. Charismatic people had gravitas. Now, gravitas is mentioned in the trial of Verus, prosecuted by Cicero, and in Pliny's letter to Arrius Antoninus, in which gravitas is seen as the key component of Roman imperialism. And when Roman envoys were mocked for speaking Greek poorly at Tarentum in 282 BC, they felt humiliated because their gravitas was compromised. Now, transformational leadership is highly valued in the West. It's about inspiring performance and influencing followers' needs, morals, and aspirations. Again, it's about being charismatic and the centre of attention. It seems that conceptually, gravitas and transformational leadership are really quite similar in many ways. So it's a good question to ask. I did a historical analysis and I did an empirical analysis to see if indeed gravitas is similar to transformational leadership. So in terms of my historical analysis, I begin my discussion going back 2,000 years to see if it could possibly be that there's a pathway from ancient Rome to the modern world, to see if the Romans are in some way responsible for the glass ceiling. Now, most researchers in psychology, in fact, focus on the influence of the ancient Greeks and not the ancient Romans, and for good reason. The ancient Greeks were great drivers of thoughts and ideas. The ancient city-state of Athens was the birthplace of intellectual freedom with a focus on justice, virtues, the good and the beautiful. It's no wonder that some modern psychologists trace some of the origins of modern personality theory to ancient Greek dudes like Theophrastus, Hippocrates, and Galen. We shouldn't and we don't underestimate the effect of ancient Greece on our culture. But it's also widely recognized that the ancient Romans had the greater influence in Western society compared to the ancient Greeks. And why was this? Why has the ancient Roman leadership of gravitas made it hard for modern women to achieve leadership positions in the modern world? Well, I think there's several good reasons for the transmission of Roman ideals across 2,000 years. One reason is that the Romans beat the Greeks, and history is written by the winners. The Romans took the best of Greek culture for sure, but they often corrupted it as a result of Rome's focus on empire building and military glory. And another reason is that the Romans had an empire stretching from Spain in the west to Syria in the east, and from Britain in the north to Egypt in the south. The Romans had the capacity to influence vast numbers of people across the Mediterranean, and Roman coins featuring Roman virtues, for example, were widely found across the whole of the Mediterranean world. And Christianity emerged from the Roman Empire. Virtues central to Christianity were based on Roman virtues. Christianity and those Roman virtues continue to flourish and influence Western society to this very day. And also, and perhaps more importantly, the British Empire breathed fresh life into Roman values, taking their sense of false elitism. The British showed their alleged superiority to their subjugated nations by resurrecting Roman values. But perhaps more importantly still, the British Empire breathed fresh life into Roman values. To maintain their false sense of elitism, the British showed their alleged superiority over their subjugated nations by resurrecting the concept of Roman values. Thus, Cecil Rhodes, a central figure in the raping and pillaging of Africa, was noted for saying, "I am a Roman," and Victorians used to refer to the benefits of Pax Britannica to justify their empire. And today in the UK, think of the gravitas shown by barristers and judges in the legal system, the gravitas shown by private schoolboys in the UK, and even the quality known as bottom in the Houses of Commons. From these influences, we can see how Roman virtues may still play a strong influence on Western society today. And to really reinforce this point, here's a quote from 1937, but it still shows how the Roman values of the past still transformed the way the world worked centuries later. So here's a quote from Mattingly, 1937. "Silly we may call them if we will, but they formed the religious stock in trade of humanity for centuries. They explain much in antiquity that without would be inexplicable, and more than this, they have exercised influence on the thoughts of the world that endure to this day." So, it's possible that gravitas may indeed be related to transformational leadership. To test this idea, as well as conducting my historical analysis, I developed a scale of gravitas and compared the results with modern-day transformational leadership questionnaires. It's a great way, but not a perfect way, to see the overlap between these two concepts. And to cut a long story short, the evidence showed strongly that gravitas and transformational leadership were really quite similar. There was good, strong, convergent validity between them. So, it could be cynically concluded that tens of thousands of articles on leadership and transformational leadership over the past 2,000 years haven't really added much extra knowledge to that which the ancient Romans had. And perhaps there's some truth in this. But here's another and perhaps more sinister thought. Gravitas and transformational leadership may not be inherently racist and sexist in the way that it is measured in the 21st century. And probably the influence of Rome is fading fast. But my historical analysis suggests that the concept of leadership in the present day is still quite influenced by ancient Rome. It seems distinctly possible that we tend to perceive the best leaders to be male, white, glory-oriented, and empire-building, just like the ancient Romans of the past. No wonder we still have such problems of leadership in the modern age. No wonder women still face the glass ceiling when it comes to leadership. Yes, of course, there's lots of other influences on the struggle for women to achieve the leadership roles that they deserve. But I think I've identified an as yet unexplored perspective on why women still struggle to achieve recognition in the workplace. I advocate that we need to make leadership more inclusive of diversity by reconceptualizing what it takes to be a leader in the modern world. We should stop thinking of leaders in terms of ancient Roman ideals. At the moment, we may still be trapped by the past, and thus not giving a fair go for all. We deserve and we need better leadership than this. For more information, you can always see the article below. Please comment, click like, and remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking the button so that you'll always know when the next pithy and pointy presentation is on its way. More soon.